Welcome to everybody. Welcome to a new beginner series for Vinyasa Yoga. Thank you for joining me. David Ito here. It is a pleasure to be with you again. Many of you have joined me over the summer. Others joined me from the beginning of the pandemic. And I think some of you are also joining me now. So very, very happy to be here with you. And there have been a few changes, very minor changes really. On Tuesdays, we will be focusing more on beginner level vinyasa. The idea is that a lot of people, we're back to school September, and the idea is that we're picking up again all of those good intentions that we had, and it's time to put them to practice. So let's review some of the yoga basics. Let's review some of the elements of Vinyasa Yoga so that we can go in safely, slowly, making sure that we learn to understand our body. And if there is one thing that I'd like us to retain from this class and the rest of the beginner series is that advanced yoga is not that person who can do a perfect handstand or can do the splits or can bring their forehead to their knees or they can do crow for however long. That is not an advanced yogi. That is maybe more developed strength and flexibility kind of yogi, but it does not make the person more advanced. Why? Because what makes us more advanced is when we're able to tune inwards and connect with ourselves. That is the whole objective. And so during this first part of today's class, I just want to review a few elements about the theory of yoga. And as I said, I started out with what makes a yogi a beginner and an advanced. It's really about what's going on inside. So unfortunately, we use the word beginner for these classes. And like today, many of you think, oh, I'm a beginner because, I can't, I'm not very flexible, or I haven't worked out in a long time and I'm not really in shape. Well, yes, those are maybe physical manifestations of a practice that has not been consolidated yet. But what we really aim for is to build that body-mind connection. And the whole purpose of asana, which we'll be reviewing what asana is to build up and get us ready for meditation. So yes, ultimately the objective of asana is meditation. Some people do a lot of asana and don't do a lot of meditation. Well, according to the teachings that we receive from the gurus and teachers from India, meditation is the objective, is the ultimate, because meditation leads us to bliss, to that samadhi, that moment and that connection with the divine that is in ourselves. We don't have to look for a god or look for any other element. It's all within ourselves. All right, so I want to say hello to some of the students who are already here. So Paul, welcome back. And Paula, Familia La Salandra Uber, so good to have you in class. And I also see a few other people who have not logged in. So can you please just sign in and say hello? It's really useful to know who's out there and also to know to be able to reach out to you. So for those of you who are new to my class, this YouTube live format is different from Zoom because I cannot see you, you can see me. But in spite of those limitations, we can use the chat and you can tell me about yourself, you can tell me what you need today, etc. All right, so as we continue with the class, let's all meet in a cross-legged position. And because this is a beginner yoga class, we need to start from the very beginning, which is, how do we sit? All right, so let me tell you two things that any yogi or yogini should always have. One of them is some sort of prop. And I have a towel that, as you can see, I've folded numerous times. And this towel is going to be useful for so many things when we are on our knees and the knees are getting a little too sensitive on the floor. We're going to use this for padding, but especially for now to get started as we come into a cross-legged seat, we can bring this underneath our seat, and not only is it going to make it a little bit more comfortable, but it's going to help to lift our hips a little bit. So I'm moving backwards so that you can see. All right, so sitting on a prop, whatever it is, really helps us to sit up straight. This is not something that you're going to hear a lot of teachers and a lot of meditation teachers tell you, but the key and the secret to be able to sit upright is, especially for many of us with tight legs, hips, tight hamstrings, tight backs, and hip flexors especially, is to be able to lift the seat. So as I sit on something and I am able to sit up, my hips higher than my knees, I am able to keep my back straight. If I remove this and my hip flexors are tight and everything is tight, what do? I start rounding my back. And when I stay like this for maybe 5-10 minutes, I can assure you your back is gonna start hurting. So we are smarter than that. We bring whatever prop. It could be a blanket. It can be something bigger. Let me introduce you to my second best friend, the bolster. The bolster, the cushion, many of us are practicing from home, so this doesn't have to be a perfect yoga studio-like prop, but definitely we want something that is sturdy and firm. So again, I bring this underneath my seat. It's not because you're using a prop that makes you less advanced. On the contrary, the more advanced yogis and practitioners are the smarter ones, the ones who know their bodies better. So when I bring something under my seat, definitely I can sit in meditation for a very long time. I would not be able to do that if I were directly on the floor. And I said 2, but there's actually 3 elements that most students should have. Blocks. Why blocks? You will see later. Often because of our physical limitations, we cannot reach the floor, and then that makes us bring a bad posture, and it potentially makes us even feel like we're not doing things properly. So having props, blocks for us to bring our hands on to really help us bring ourselves to a better alignment is key, so important. So if you don't have blocks, you can use books. If you don't have books, you can use big cans of food, something heavy that's not going to fall apart, all right? Something that's gonna help you feel supported. So I believe everybody has a towel, and I believe pretty much everybody has a firm cushion in their head, in their house. It can also be the back of your sofa. All right, and then blocks. So towel, cushion, block, that is basics for sitting down and also for our practice. All right, so go grab your blanket or bolster if you don't have one handy. And the rest of us are going to wait for you in cross-legged position. And let me say something about cross-legged positions. Let me make sure that you can see me. All right, I think the camera's set up so that you can see me now. All right, so many of us have tight hips, all right? And then bringing our knees to the floor like I'm doing is a little bit challenging, all right? So you play around which leg position. It could be cross-legged, so my shins are crisscrossed and then my knees fall onto the feet. This is the most comfortable and available of cross-legged positions. And then maybe the next one, which already opens up the hips and a little bit more, is like this with the front foot on the floor, so the top of the foot is on the floor. And then maybe something that you might see in more seasoned practitioners, let's not call them advanced, is bringing the front foot inside the calf and the thigh. All right, so then this is something that you're going to see a lot of people. So as you can see, we're going very slowly, but this is not something that the majority of yoga studios are going to teach you. So I'm happy that I am able to provide something that none of my teachers told me in any class. I had to learn this little by little. All right, we are going to start to close our eyes, lengthen the spine, lengthen the neck. Let's try to find an upright position that feels both sustainable, honorable, at the same time relaxed. So let's not change your breath yet. Let's just make sure that we have the right position. Maybe you need to change or fix your legs. Maybe you need to change where exactly the bolster or cushion or whatever prop you're using is underneath you. Maybe it's too far back, too far forward. And once you found that line between crown of the head and tailbone that feels sustainable, relax your shoulders and your elbows and place your hands, your palms down. Facing downwards is a hand position that allows us to feel more grounded, allows us to feel connected. Sometimes our head is all over the place, or we're just very sleepy. Can you just relax your hands, relax your shoulders, relax all the muscles, while still staying with an upright position? Let's start imagining a line, a beam of light that runs from the tail of your spine all the way up the crown of the head. In later episodes, later classes, I will be talking about nadis and energy channels. For today, I think it's just enough to say that there is energy that runs through our body. This is not a mystical, airy-fairy thing. This is proven by science. Our nervous system also runs up and down. So when our spines are straight, we're able to stay more awake, more alert, more focused, more connected. When we're slouching, when we're rounding our backs, when our position is worse, we breathe worse, and we also lose a lot of that energy, that magnetism, that's chi prana that runs through our body. So that's why it's so important to keep a spine straight and use the props that help us to achieve that. So now we're going to start focusing into the breath. Breath is one of the elements of yoga. Pranayama. Pranayama refers to energy, prana, and yama is the control, the management, the modulation of our energy level, and we can do that through our breath. So there is a direct connection between breath work and energy and mental situation. So when we are breathing poorly and we have very shallow breath, our energy is sluggish and sleepy. When we're taking deeper inhales and exhales, we're able to also reawaken our energy field. So, do you want to try that out? Should we test it out? All right, so keep your eyes closed. And now we're going to take a few deep inhales through the nose if possible. Filling up the chest, filling up the rib cage, filling up the belly, the sides and the back, opening up the rib cage, the ribs. Sip in a little more air, sip in a little more air, a little more air. Open your mouth and ha, sigh it out with voice. I wish I could hear you, but really sigh it out, ha. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale through the nose. Chest, rib cage, belly expand. Sides and the back of the body expand. Expand a little bit more. Sip in a little bit more. A little bit more. And sigh it out. Ah. Let it all out. Exhale all that stale air. 1 more time. Inhale deeply. Chest, rib cage, belly, sides and back. A little more air. A little more air. A little more air. Let's hold it for 3, 2, 1. Open your mouth and sigh it out. Ha. Keep your eyes closed. Breathe normally. And notice any new sensations in your body and in your energy field. Any subtle sensations in your body, any changes, any shifts with 3 deep breaths. What seems different? I am sure there's at least one. You feel a little bit more awake. That happens to all of us. And possibly, you also feel a little bit more relaxed and a little bit more positive. And this is just with 3 breaths. It took us less than 3 minutes to do that. So imagine if you could do that every day for longer periods of time. So that is, all the breath work that goes under the category of Pranayama, breath work, all right? Throughout the classes, all these series on Tuesdays, we're gonna be working on different types of pranayama. Today, that's as far as we're gonna take it, all right? So just understanding that there is a link between breath and energy, breath and mental acuity, focus, positivity. All right, let's start moving because time is flying. All right. So, because this is a beginner's yoga class, let's start with the basics. The column. I already talked about the energy channels. Now let's just talk about the column. So in yoga, alignment is always thought of a way to arrange our spine in a way that is conducive to movement, conducive to the development of asana. So the best way to start working the spine is to warm it up. So let's start the warm-up section of the class. All right. So maybe if your legs are uncomfortable like this and you want to change the crossing of the legs like I'm doing, let's do that. Once again, bring the hands down, palms on the knees, and we're going to start opening up the chest. This is the heart center. I will refer to it a lot. Let's open up the heart center and broaden the shoulders. We're going to broaden the clavicle, the neck bone, all right? And when we do that, the tailbone is also moving backwards. All right, I'm gonna go sideways so that you can see the proper alignment when we do these seated cats and cows. All right, so hands on the knees, chest open up, shoulders broaden, and the tailbone of my back is also moving backwards and up. All right, so you can see that I'm opening the front gate very much. Now I'm gonna bring my chin up, lengthen the throat. Feel a little stretch here, but not so far as to start feeling pain in the base of your skull. So find a way to stretch the throat without compromising your cervical spine. All right, so inhale, drop your bellies. Open up the front. Exhale, start rounding the spine as you bring chin to chest and the tailbone tucks inwards. Navel to spine, contract the abdomen. Let's reverse that into cow again. Deep breath through the nose, open up the heart, shoulders broaden also away from the ears. Tailbone moves outwards to the back. Feel this arching of the back. Exhale, start to round your back. Chin to chest, belly inwards. Continue like that at your own very slowly. Inhale forward, drop the belly. Exhale, round into cat. Shoulders are engaged too. Inhale, externally rotate the shoulders. Exhale and internally rotate the shoulders. Navel in. Continue like that, by yourself, like a dance. And when we move like this slowly, mindfully, carefully, we're able to notice which parts of the body are tight, which parts of the body are a little bit less flexible. So the movements don't have to be huge. They have to be just fine for you. That is the objective of this series. Beginner series is to teach you how to read your own body, to understand the anatomy that you were given, the body that you came into. And we have to accept the limitations of the bodies we were given. 2 more like that. Close your eyes if you haven't done so yet. Moving with a breath. Through the nose. Activating the navel. Beautiful. And we come back to neutral. Once again, we're going to stop for a few seconds. Close your eyes. What feels different after these cats and cows? Do you feel any new subtle sensations? Do you feel any energy or any heat that built up in your body? So as you can see, we are moving mindfully because yoga is also, asana yoga is mindfulness in movement, or movement in mindfulness, in meditation. It's all combined. When we move mindfully with the breath, that's where we can really reap the benefits of the movements, the asanas. You can call them exercises. All right, so we are building on. So let's change the crossing of the legs once again if those got a little bit tense and tired. We're going to start doing cats and cows, but in circular motion. How does that look like? Well, it's pretty much the same. We start with the hands on the knees. We open up the chest, drop our bellies. Exhale, start bringing the rib cage towards the left. And then rounding into cat as we exhale completely. Inhale, rib cage towards the right. Then towards the front, full inhale. And continue like this, very slowly. Exhale, navel to spine. Inhale, ribs towards the right and the front. And look at the screen for a moment and notice how when I do these torso circles, my crown of the head and tailbone are pretty much stacked in the same line. What's changing is the rib cage. So think of your tailbone and think of your crown of the head like the ends of a bow, and you are just moving the inside of the bow. So now that you saw that, close your eyes and start tuning inwards, noticing the effects of these circles in your body. You might hear some clicks and some pops. It's all good. We are reawakening the spine. This is already yoga. Don't think that yoga is just handstands, headstands, and like complicated sequences. Yoga starts the moment that you close your eyes and tune inwards. As we add movement, any movement will already accomplish the work in the body-mind connection. All right, next time you come to the front, we're going to change directions, bringing rib cage to the right as we inhale, and then exhale completely, navel to spine. Start inhaling the rib cage towards the left. Full inhale to the front. And continue like that at your own pace. You might notice that maybe one side feels different than the other. One direction feels a little bit easier or not. So here we're trying to build spinal mobility, and honestly, when we have sedentary lifestyles, when we're not moving, when we're always stuck in our chairs, this is terrible for our spine. Our spines start to get stiff, our vertebrae, the discs. A lot of us with herniated discs, and I include myself there, we suffer a lot from bad posture, from bad chairs, and what we are doing now is the best way to prevent the deterioration of the spine. We are bringing some lubrication into the discs, into the spinal fluid. Beautiful. Next time you come to the front, we're gonna meet in stillness. All right, so if you were sitting on a bolster, let's remove the bolster and sit back either on the mat or the blanket, because the bolster is a little too high for the side stretches we're gonna do. All right, so we're gonna come back to our original position, long line between the crown of the head and the tailbone. We're gonna lift our hands up as we inhale, and exhale the hands down onto the floor. So this is very basic movement. We're just gonna start practicing what it is to move with the breath. Breath-led movement. Inhale, bring the palms up, inhale them up, high prayer. We call this a high prayer. Belly expands. Exhale completely as we bring the hands down. We're gonna continue like this on our own. Palms up, inhale. Exhale, palms facing down. So as you can see, the breath starts and the body follows. Inhale, hands up, palms touch at the top. Exhale, palms down. In a way, we're already starting to warm up and stretch the shoulders. Inhale, the hands up. Exhale the hands down. We practice combining breath and movement. Close your eyes if you haven't done so. Exhale completely, noticing the sensations in your body as you start to do this. Inhale, 2 more rounds like this. Exhale, hands down. Maybe your shoulders are getting tired already. That's totally fine. You can stop whenever you're done. When you notice that you can no longer do something, please stop or modify. Let's once again close our eyes and tune inwards. We're going to be doing this tuning inwards at the end of every movement. Can you notice some new body parts, any new information that your body's sending you? I bet your shoulders are telling you something because you've been moving them. All right, let's continue building on this movement with breath. The breath starts and the body follows with the movement. All right, this time around, we're gonna bring the arms sideways and palms facing forward, doing the cow spine like we were doing. Remember the spine where we exhale, where we inhale, the belly drops. Exhale, we're gonna bring our palms together, clasp the hands, bring the palms to face the front, and now round your back into cat, navel to spine. Inhale, unclasp the hands, open up the arms. I'm gonna go sideways so you can see a side view. Exhale, start rounding the back, bring the hands together, clasp them, and then turn the palms away from you as you round, navel to spine, contract the abdomen. Inhale, open up the chest. Neck is still long. Bring the gaze up just enough, but not causing pain in your back of the neck. Bring the palms together and extend your arms, rounding the back. Continue like this for 3 more rounds. Inhale, open up the arms and the heart. Exhale, rounding the spine, extending the arms forward. By yourself, breath starts, body follows. One more time, open up those arms. Exhale, navel to spine as you round the back. This time we're going to bring the arms up. Keep your arms the way they were. The hands are still interlaced. Can you anchor down your sits bones and bring your palms a little bit higher? And then release. Bring the hands down through the midline. All right, you're going to hear me say, me and many teachers say this, bring hands down the midline. That's because in yoga we believe our body has 2 hemispheres, and this is exactly the midline. So the line that goes directly from tailbone to crown of the head. So teachers will say, bring the hands down through the midline. This is what it means. You're bringing the prayer down through the midline. That's what it means. All right, so we have worked and stretched the shoulders and the spine. Let's start working the sides of the body. Come back onto high prayer. We call this a high prayer, our palms touching. Then we're going to bring the left hand to the side on the floor as we stretch the right arm diagonally towards the left. The objective here is not so much to fall down or to bend to the side. It's really to open up the intercostal muscles and the ribs. So if you see, this, if you could still keep your sits bones on the ground while you are completely bringing your arm and your torso to the side, that's excellent. But what we want to make sure is that our seat, the sits bones, are firmly grounded. We also want to make sure that we are not collapsing forward. The shoulders are stacked. The chest is open. The arm is actively shooting towards the side. The arm and the hand, look at my hand, it's like a spade. It's so active. And then finally, the neck. The neck is long. If your neck is collapsing, that could be painful, potentially dangerous. All right, so make sure that the neck is shooting outwards. Imagine you can make your crown of the head a little longer. Lengthening the neck, that protects the neck. All right, inhale, hands up high, prayer. Exhale, right hand to the floor, left hand, left arm stretched diagonally towards the right. Once again, focusing on opening the rib cage, focusing on opening those intercostal muscles that they're called. The neck is long, the arm is active. Can you breathe into the rib cage and allow them to expand a little more? Can you breathe into your back? When we get into different kind of funny positions, we can't breathe the same way, but we can breathe to other ways. So it's up to us to find how to breathe when we can't breathe forward normally. Hands up high, prayer. Exhale, bring them down through the midline. All right, relax the hands on the knees. Once again, close your eyes. Body scan. Any subtle sensations that are changing constantly as we move through the class. Maybe it's a little tingly sensation, maybe it's heat, maybe it's sweat, maybe it's something else, or maybe nothing. It's all good. Let's inhale the hands up high, prayer. This time we're going to bring the prayer down as we twist towards the right side. So I'm bringing my hands into prayer position in front of the chest, more or less, and I am twisting just with my core. So I am not using my arms yet. So let's just see, if I keep both sits bones equally grounded, how much can I twist? Keeping my spine long, crown of the head over tailbone. Can I twist a little bit more, just using my rib cage, my rib muscles, intercostal muscles, and the core? Make sure your neck is long. Just make a mental note that today this is as far as I can go. Now start bringing your hands down. So the left hand is going to go outside the right thigh, and my right hand is going to go behind my back. I'm going to turn around so you see exactly the right way to position the hand. All right, so the hand, I tent my fingers behind me. That gives me more height, more stability. Not all too far back, not too close, just far enough so that you can straighten the arm. It's pretty much same line as my midline in the back of the body, or the sacrum. All right, so now using the core, 80% of the work comes from the core, 20% comes from the arms. We lift up, inhale deeply. Exhale, we use our arms to twist ever so slightly. Let's just start twisting gently. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, maybe twist a little bit more. Can you lower your shoulders? Can you away from the ears? Lengthen a little bit more. Inhale deeply. And exhale, twist one bit more. Inhale, the hands up high, prayer. Exhale, we're going to do the same thing towards the other side. So we bring the hands, the prayer, towards the left side. As we lengthen tailbone to crown of the head, we're using our core to twist towards the left, using our core and rib cage muscles. Yes, we have muscles inside, in between our rib cage and over the ribs too. All right, so let's see how far we can twist without using our hands. The neck is still long, the spine is long. All right, bring the right hand outside the thigh, the left thigh, and then the left hand on the floor just behind us. Lengthen the spine, inhale. Exhale, let's start twisting towards the left, any amount. Shoulders away from the ears. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist a little bit more. On the next inhale, coming out of it, hands up high, prayer. Exhale, the hands down through the midline. All right. Let's do one more stretch, which is a forward fold. Okay, so we grab again the cushion, the bolster, and we're going to bring it close to us in front of our knees. I'm going to do it sideways so that you see exactly what I'm doing. All right, so the idea now is that we want to stretch the glutes and the lower back. So in order to do that, to isolate the stretch, we want to keep our back straight, all right? So bring your hands onto the cushion and then either walk your hands forward or even push the cushion on the floor if you're on the floor, or just wiggle it forward to see how far you can fold forward without rounding your spine. Look at me. My spine is still long. All right, let's say that this is my top. After here, I need to start rounding. So then bring the bolster closer to you and then bring the elbows onto that bolster. If this is really too far from you, which is the case for many people, bring the cushion sideways and then use the cushion like that. All right, so let's just use all the features of our props. Keep the neck long. Let's take a deep inhale. See if we can fold forward a little bit more. And then bring our elbows onto the cushion and then bring our hands together and use the sides of our thumbs of our hands as a rest for our forehead. If you're here, or if you're here, or if you're already very bendy, maybe you can bring your forehead onto the backs of your arms like I am. Look at the screen. Wherever you are, can you relax your shoulders a little bit more? Can you relax your neck? And can we start sending the breath in all directions towards the front, even though our bellies are touching our thighs? Can we send the breath towards the sides, expanding the ribs? Can you send the breath to the ribs in your back and you feel your ribs in your back expand with your inhale? Exhale through the nose, continue like that. Noticing how with every big inhale on the exhale, we can fold forward a little bit more. We send our breath down into our bellies. The diaphragm expands as our lungs expand, and then it pushes down into the intestines, into the pelvic floor, relaxing the hips, allowing us to fold forward a little bit more. On the next inhale, use your hands. We're going to change the crossing of the legs. So change the crossing of the legs. And we're going to go for the same idea with this different leg situation. We start bringing the hands forward, bringing the elbows down wherever you are, whether it's the high facet, the low facet, no facet at all. And you just bring your hands onto the back, your forehead onto the backs of your hands. And breathe 360, expanding your breath wherever you are. As we said before, it's not about how flexible you are. Of course, flexibility is important and flexibility is great, but it's not about, the goal is not the flexibility. The goal is to be connected to yourself. Let's remember that that is the goal of yoga. To connect to your higher self, to connect to your pure consciousness, that energy that runs through your body, inside of you, the forces that make you what you are. All right, without getting too philosophical, at least not in this class, let's bring our hands down. And we're gonna stretch the legs out. Okay, you're probably saying, yes, my knees need a break. Well, you know what, mine do too. All right, so this is what we call windshield wiping the legs. All right, windshield wiping the legs. All right, so now we're gonna get onto the mat, at least I am, you if you were on the mat, and we're going to be using the towel. So place the towel pretty much halfway through on the mat. We're gonna come onto hands and knees. Some people call this hands and knees, some people call this tabletop. Different teachers call this different things, all right? So let's start stretching the legs a little bit. We're going to extend the left leg towards the back. So tuck your toes and you're going to activate the leg. As you activate the leg, you're going to start noticing the back of your leg is getting a pretty good stretch. Can you use your arms, push down into the mat? That's going to broaden the shoulder blades away from each other. And then as you push down and forward with your hands, that allows your hips to move backwards and your heel to become a little closer to the mat. That's how we get a nice stretch in the Achilles tendon, the calf, and the hamstring. Deep inhale. Complete exhale. Let's start rocking forward and backwards. If you're pushing down with your shoulders, we're also working out our shoulders. Rock forward, inhale, spine is long, neck is long. rock backwards. Feel the stretch in the back of the leg. One more like this, slowly. And exhale, rock back. Feel that one last nice, intense, or not, I wouldn't say intense, but a little deeper stretch of the back. All right, now we're going to pivot the left heel down onto the floor. So now my entire sole of the foot is on the floor, parallel to the edge of the mat. So now my weight is a little bit more on my right knee. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to lift the right foot just gently, and then we're going to swing the right foot off the mat towards the right. All right, so once again, the right shin, the right foot are dialing outwards onto the floor or outside the mat as we slowly start to lift the left shoulder and stack shoulder over shoulder, and then start to lift the left hand towards the ceiling. All right, this is, in yoga, we would call this a supported side plank. And now slowly we start to extend the left arm away from us. Once again, we're stretching the side. Can you send the breath towards the left side of your body? Can you intensify the stretch with your left arm shooting away? One more breath here. And exhale, bring the hand down, bring the left knee down. And we're gonna do the other side. So extend the right leg outwards towards the back of the mat. Activate the leg and push down with the shoulders, and then push forward with your hands so you can bring your right heel a little bit closer to the floor. Feel the stretch. Can you activate the leg and also relax the ankle muscle a little bit more? All right, let's start rocking forward. Inhale. Exhale, rock backwards, getting a nice calf stretch, hamstring stretch. Inhale forward. Exhale backwards. Don't let the shoulders collapse, still pushing down. We are strengthening our shoulders like this. One more time, neck is long. Exhale, rock backwards. And we're going to pivot down the right heel onto the floor, and we're going to swing the left shin and foot outwards, dial it out off the mat. All right, look at the screen if you don't know what I'm talking about, but it's the same as we did on the other side. Then on the inhale, we start to stack shoulder over shoulder, and then eventually lift up the right arm, creating a straight line with our arms. Shoulders are very active. Top shoulder is stretching upwards, bottom shoulder is pressing down. Long line from tailbone to crown of the head, and now we start to stretch out. The right arm away, diagonally away. Can you broaden the rib cage, the intercostal muscles on the right side? Breathe into your rib cage as you stretch a little bit more. One more breath here. Exhale, bring the hand down and the knee down. All right, we're back into tabletop. All right, so we're gonna go into child's pose. Child's pose is a pose that requires us to bring our knees as wide as the mat, and we start to lower our hips closer to our heels. Make sure that your toes are untucked. And we are going to wiggle our bellies inside and between our thighs, and then slowly relax the arms, relax the forehead on the floor, or if you can't reach the floor, you can use a block or another prop to relax your neck. So close your eyes if you haven't done so. You might notice that there are some parts that are tight in child's pose. Usually it's the inner thighs. So child's pose is also a thigh opener. We're stretching the thighs. Can you take a deeper breath and breathe into your belly, your pelvic floor? Relax all the internal organs. On the exhale, just surrender and release. Inhale deeply. Exhale completely. Inhale deeply. Exhale completely. On the next inhale, rise up back into hands and knees. So we're going to bring once again the knees a little bit closer to each other, just below the hips. All right. From here, we're going to bring the right foot between our hands. So how do we do that? Well, you can start to bring the knee towards the chest and then bring the foot around and just heel toe it towards the front of the mat. There are many ways, just find one way. Maybe it's not the most glamorous way, but basically what we want to do is we want to find ourselves in a low lunge, a modified low lunge with a knee down. So look at the screen. Many of us, when we do this, we're collapsing and we're just letting the weight of our chest on the thigh. And that is not the point. The point is to activate our arms. But for many of us, when just our anatomy doesn't allow us to do this, that's when we use our blocks. So grab blocks, grab books, grab whatever, and use the blocks and even tent your fingers enough to help you to lift your chest. What we're trying to get here is a really nice stretch in our hip flexor on the left side. So the front ankle is below the knee, and we start to lower our hips a little bit more. So the spine, as you can see, my spine is straight, is stretched out, it's long, it's proud. My neck is long, and I am slowly allowing my thigh to go down. So for a lot of us, you're not going to go that deep, and that's totally fine. But use blocks, use any props. So just one thing about using the props, we want to make sure that they are stable. So when you're using blocks, for example, like I am, just bring them closer to you so that they can be, your wrists can be under your shoulders. If you don't have blocks, then you can use your fingertips. That's also going to help you. All right, so you got to make do with what you have. All right, so whether you have blocks, whether you just have your hands, can we continue to push down with our shoulders? Our shoulders are active as we start to release our hips downwards a little bit more. Yes, this is not very comfortable, but that's why we use a blanket under our knee. We pad up. But when we stay like this and we stretch out that hip flexor, it is so good for our lower backs. It is so good for our posture in ways that are a little long to explain, but there's a muscle called the psoas muscle that is always tight because we tend to be sitting down all day on our chairs. And this is a counter stretch, or let's say a remedy for that tight psoas muscle. All right, we're gonna start bringing our hips backwards as we straighten the right leg and we flex the right foot. Let me just show you. I'm gonna remove the props so that you can see. All right, so for a lot of us, folding forward with straight leg and flexing the foot is very, very intense, and that's why we use blocks and we use a blanket underneath our knee. So many of us are gonna be here, and that's totally fine. It's long spine. And then maybe bring our blocks forward just a tiny bit. Can you straighten your leg a little bit more? Can you flex your ankle a little bit more? And then maybe on the next exhale, you fold forward just a tiny bit more wherever you are. Don't go over the edge. I always use 80%. It's not completely arbitrary. I think that 80% for us in our minds means we're taking it, somewhat deep, but we're not taking it over the edge to like danger zone. Breathe into the back of the leg. And exhale, maybe fold forward a little bit more. Wherever you are, make sure that your neck is long. Make sure that you are not in pain. You can always modify. You can always do less. You can always come back into child's pose. Or you can just not go as deep. It's up to you to modify your practice too. That's what makes you an advanced yogi, by the way. One more low lunge. So bringing our weight forward. This time we're gonna twist within low lunge. All right, we're having a little fun here. So our left hand, whether it's on the block or on the floor, is gonna stay like that, pushing down, and we're gonna start lifting up the right arm. So we're gonna try to get a straight arm with our arms as we twist our body towards the right side. Leg is long. Can you lower your hips a little bit more? Inhale deeply. Exhale completely. Bring the hand down. Bring the hips backwards and then bring the right knee back on the floor. Let's do the other side. All right, so bringing the left foot around and to the front, coming into low lunge on the left side. Using blocks, props, books, whatever it is. Can you open up the chest, broaden the shoulders as we intentionally lower the hips and tell those hip flexor muscles to relax. Breathe deeply. Exhale completely. Deep inhales. Complete exhale. All right, start to straighten the left leg. Bring your hips backwards, flex the left foot. Maybe bring your blocks or hands a little bit closer to you. And then on the next exhale, fold forward any amount while still keeping the integrity of the leg and the back. Beautiful. One more breath here. Exhale, coming forward, back into low lunge. We're going to go for the twist on this side. So if you're using blocks, make sure that your block is sturdy and you're bringing your weight of your arms on the right block, pushing down with the shoulder, and then start to open up the chest towards the side, and then bring the arm towards the back. The arm is really not so important. What's really important here is that we're really lowering the hip. The arm helps us to twist. You could also place the arm on your sacrum. You could place the arm on your knee, on the thigh. That's a modification that helps you to twist a little bit more as you push down with the right shoulder. But most importantly, you lower the hips a little bit more. Inhale deeply. Exhale completely. Close your eyes if you can. When you exhale, you send a message to your hips to relax. Bringing back the hand onto the block, coming out of the twist. Bringing your hips backwards, the last stretch with the back of the left leg. And then slowly bring your knees back onto the floor. All right. So we're going to end class with a few minutes of Shavasana. So what is Shavasana? Shavasana is corpse pose. And in yoga, it's one of the most difficult poses because we're supposed to not do anything. That's why it's difficult. That includes the thinking, the monkey mind. So if we're able to just relax. So let's lie down on the floor and we can make it comfortable on ourselves. So you could use the blanket as a bit of a headrest. You can even use the cushion underneath your calves like I am. This is more of a restorative type of Shavasana. If you don't have any props, of course, you could just be on the floor. If you have everything like I do, you can even tent up your bolster using the 2 blocks underneath. And then you put your bolster on top. And then you bring your calves on top. And then you lie down, making sure that your neck is spacious, your shoulders are spacious, making sure your neck is long, your back is long. So wiggle any changes that make you a little bit more comfortable. The arms are spread out away from you, palms facing up. Let's start closing our eyes. We stop doing anything. That means also we stop controlling the breath. We don't control anything. We just allow our bodies to relax. We allow our bodies to stop doing and just start being. Relaxing the feet, relaxing the ankles, the calves, the knees, the thighs, the hips, the glutes, the pelvis, the abdomen, the side body, the front of the chest and the rib cage, the back and the spine, the neck, the hands and the wrists, the forearms and the elbows, the biceps, the triceps, the armpits, the back of the head, the top of the head, the front of the face, the forehead, cheeks, jaw, eyes, mouth, tongue, roof of the mouth, the chin, the throat. We relax the entire body and just tune inwards into the sensations of the body. As we focus our attention onto the sensations of the body like we do in meditation, in mindfulness, we're able to avoid or control a little bit how the mind tends to go away and wanders, starts thinking. So let's just tune inwards and connect to the sensations, the information that our bodies are sending us. wiggle your fingers and your toes. Moving your head side to side. Bend your knees, plant your feet. And let the entire body roll over onto the left side. Slowly using your arms, push yourself up. And meet me once again in an upright cross-legged position. Let's bring our hands together in prayer mudra, prayer in the heart center. Lower your head down, bowing your head as a way to seal our practice, as a way to manifest our gratitude towards our bodies, and also the gratitude to whatever it is that brought you into today's practice, that force, that energy, that motivation. That is part of your self-care, self-love. That is part of your self-development path. So let's be thankful of that. And slowly lift up the head, release the hands down. All right, my friends, thank you for joining me in today's first class in this beginner yoga series. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for deciding to take this class. I want to say thank you to Paul and Paula and Day. Thank you very much. And 3 other people who are also watching. Thank you for liking, commenting my videos. And if you are watching this as a class replay, please consider donating. Any amount is welcome. I keep my classes open on YouTube for free as class replays. If you want to join me live, then you have to register and get a ticket in this website, daviditohealing.com, or through Eventbrite. The link is within. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, friends. Have a beautiful evening. On Thursday, it is an all-level class, so it's no longer for beginners. But for those of you who are watching this, I still recommend that you try out the all-levels class on Thursday. And there might be some things that you can do and other things that you cannot do. And that's totally fine. You know, yoga is really not a competitive practice, and you can just do whatever you can do, and that is already good enough. Namaste, namaste. Have a beautiful evening to all of you. Thank you very much for coming. All right, see you either Thursday or on my morning stretching classes. All right, goodbye.